ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्।
Welcome to another episode of Higher Mind Yoga. And I guess on this episode, I'm just going to take you through a little trip in my mind and some of the things that bop around in my consciousness. And I'm always trying to seek out, trying to get more knowledge, and in the vast quagmire that is yoga and the ancient histories and all the different folds and wrinkles and vastness of this spiritual practice. Yes, spiritual practice. Yoga is a spiritual practice. It's not just like a physical practice. It's not Pilates. It's not running a marathon. Well, I think marathon could be pretty meditative. But nonetheless, yoga. So there in the beginning, you heard the Shiva's mantra, the Maha Mrit Yunjaya. Well, I'm trying to pronounce it, and I'm trying to get better. I think I got the actual mantra down. And it's just a funny thing how that all came to be. And why did you get in yoga, Teddy? This and that. I don't know. Okay, so simply, I like to research and study, and I don't know if I mentioned this on Higher Mind Yoga, but I know I mentioned it on the previous podcast that I used to have, Brooklyn Teddy Podcast. Some episodes are floating around still. It's now been made private, and it's been banned in 11 countries. No, not really, but anyway, it could have been. But nonetheless, so doing all these studies and whatever, just on my own, just interest. You know, I've always had interest in the mystical, in world religions, mythology, all that good stuff. And I studied the Hindu mythology and stuff from the Indus Valley, which I guess is now in Pakistan, actually. But nonetheless, you know, Shiva, Kalima, Durga, Vishnu, all I knew about them. I read about them. I never went in depth into yoga as far as what is deemed now yoga in the United States and marketing wise. I did meditate, which is the original and true form of yoga, deep meditation, and finding different austerities. But anyway, I was aware of these things, and just like any other human being, you hit a pocket of anxiety or sleeplessness, and you've had a rough time, and whatever. And I was having a rough night sleeping. Won't be the first time, probably won't be the last. But it was just a little extraordinary, and I didn't like it, and I kind of forced myself to go back to sleep. I did use the assistance of an herbal treatment. So I don't know if that had to do anything to do with it. But I went back to a nice calm sleep. But in the dream that I had a very nervous feeling in my dream. Kind of a somnambulous anxiety attack. I don't know. And not even an attack. It was just like this underlying current, and I couldn't shake it in my dream. I'm sleeping, and I'm going, why am I feeling like this? And I really didn't see anything too visual, at least to my memory. I remember it being kind of dark. I don't know where I was in the dream, but I was sitting down. I don't know if I was sitting at the opening of a cave or some kind of opening. I don't know. And I was sitting there, and I was, at least I thought it was me. I was seeing it through my eyes, my consciousness in my dream. And I think I was kind of in a very hard thing to explain. And then that weird, uncomfortable feeling was permeating my sleep. And then a little while later in that dream, how long it was, I don't know, a figure appeared. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't freaked out. I didn't know. But the figure had a striking resemblance to Mahadev, Lord Shiva, Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Now, did Shiva come to my dream? Did I just concoct it? I don't know. I really don't know. So this figure, which to me represented Lord Shiva, Mahadev, said nothing. And all that the figure did was sit next to me. Not right next to me, but like a little bit of head. And I had like a sort of a profile in an angle view. In the dream, I felt calm. But I guess also in that sleep paralysis, just stuck there. But felt very calm. And this wave of warmth, calm, and just being. All in this dream. I don't know how long the dream lasted. I don't know. But I was just there. And then when I woke up that morning, I was like, wow, that was a interesting dream. And I felt better, I have to admit. And I took it as a hint. Maybe I should start meditating more often, more frequently, making it more of a practice. But on the other hand, my mystical side of my brain, the magical, I'm always intrigued by that. The unexplained, so to speak. So I took it upon myself to go into deeper research on Shiva, the mythology of Satana Dharma, Hinduism. And I came across that chant and it struck a note with me. And I decided to learn it. And the meaning behind it. So it loosely translates to Om. We worship the three-eyed one, Mahadev, who is fragrant and who nourishes all beings. May he completely liberate me from death or the sake of immortality. Now this is the part of the mantra that translates kind of, I'm not sure how it played or how historically, but even as the cucumber is severed from its bondage. The origins of the mantra varies, and there's different versions of how it came to be and how it came to the Shiva Puranas. My knowledge of it is limited, and I am researching it myself, just enjoying and learning. So I implore you, if you're doing yoga, you might want to look into this chant. It's pretty interesting, gives you deeper insight. And why not get to know Adi Yogi, the first yogi? Lord Shivaya, Shivaji. So somehow I am embracing the dream that I had. I'm embracing the knowledge that I'm gathering. And from that moment, things kind of shifted a little bit in my consciousness, or just the way of me thinking about things. And somehow that led me, or I don't know if it led me or just, one of those moments in time when you decide to make a decision. And I decided to go further and do asana. Not the traditional meditative, which if you'll study yoga a little deeper, you'll find out that a lot of the postures and stuff didn't really show up fully in the extent that they are now to probably the 16th century. But nonetheless, the physical practice agrees with me. And I'm enjoying every aspect of that and just going deeper and trying to edify myself. And I don't know, some people might treat yoga as a physical exercise. I'm getting my workout, but it's a lot more than that. And I choose to look into it a little bit deeper, honor it, figure it out, and just have fun with it and enjoy it. It's part of life. It's what we're doing here on Earth, I think. So that brought me to the next part here. And of course, higher mind yoga, and I've talked about it before, about spirit plants, plant medicines, and things of that nature. So right in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali's, if you go to chapter 4, verse 1, I'll give you the Sanskrit version because I found the version. I am not well versed yet in Sanskrit pronunciations. But I imagine if I apply myself long enough and hard enough, well, not hard enough, just long enough, because it's something that I enjoy. So it's not like really heavy lifting, but it's heavy lifting in a way that's hard to pronounce a lot of. But I have a pretty good ear for that kind of stuff. So here is an audio enhanced version of the Yoga Sutra, chapter 4, verse 1.
Oshadhi mantra tapaha samadhi jahi siddhayaha.
Interesting. So that translates more or less. There's a lot of different translations. So we'll stick with this one for now. One may gain insightful knowledge from birth, herbs, intense spiritual practice, or profound meditation. So gaining insight, knowledge, attainment. So of course, the word herbs kind of stuck out, since I have a natural love for the mother plant. I found it interesting, so I said, let me go in deeper, all right? Because I from what I know, cannabis and other herbs and all kinds have been part of this one way or another. One way or another. But when you do a little research, it feels like somehow the law of colonizers and the embarrassment of the United States and their war on drugs, it seems that a lot of the answers that I'm finding stem from that and not from a true aspect of it. But there are little pockets of glimmer there. And I'm not and once again, I'm talking about the medicinal and ritual use of herbs and plants. Yeah, the whole thought of plants and this medicine put into the context of, party time and all that. And, it's not like that at all. It should be used, but with discipline. But nonetheless, I was rummaging around the internet trying to find stuff. And I ran across an article here by the name. I'm not too happy about the name, but it has to do with psychedelic culture. And the particular website where I found it is called Reality Sandwich. But I chose this article as a point of reference just because they go through a few viewpoints on the sutra. The focus is more on psychedelics, but nonetheless. So there's a translation here. I'm skipping through. I'll put a link on highermindyoga.com, which should point to our Patreon site, where you can help out the podcast for as little as $1 if you find it interesting, if you find it helpful, if you just would like to help out the podcast, you can do that for as little as $1 at highermindyoga.com. So the other translation... So there is another translation here. Siddhis, that's the attainments, are born of practices performed in previous births or by herbs, mantra, repetition, asceticism, or by samadhi. So essentially for our purpose, this sutra says that via ashwada, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but sorry. So herbs, plants, yogic powers can be attained. While this is fascinating information, unfortunately, the sutras say nothing more about the subject, leaving us with many possible questions. And the sutras are laid out just like little phrases and then left for interpretation, which I think is kind of amazing. So you can have. So what is the right interpretation? What is the perspective here? Just interesting, very interesting. So anyway, so you can ask us questions such as, what do the herbs refer to exactly? To which yogic powers do these herbs give rise? How exactly do the herbs give rise to siddhis? Siddhis, the attainments, the special powers or the abilities. Is this sutra suggesting that it's permissible for a yogic aspirant to make use of herbs as a means towards attaining success in yoga? Are all of the methods of attaining siddhis, past lives, herbs, mantra, tapas, and samadhi of equal value, or are some better than others? Why is the term aushadhi suddenly mentioned at the outset of the fourth and final chapter of the Yoga Sutras and then not referred to again? These are some of the more basic questions that could be asked. So this is all part of the thing, and I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing this word correctly. Forgive me. Fortunately, while we don't have much of a way of finding what the original meaning of Sutra 4.1, we can at least refer to the considerable body of commentary on the sutras in addition to contemporary teachers in the yoga tradition. As for the latter, let's consider first Neem Karoli Baba, words to Ram Das, and the quote reads, in addition to LSD. So this is from the book Be Here Now. I did a podcast on that. My old friend Be Here Now that, I don't know, I rolled around and I bumped into it again. So in addition to the LSD, there were a number of the other pills for this and that, diarrhea, fever, and sleeping pills, and so forth. He asked about each of these. He asked if they gave powers. I didn't understand at the time and thought that by powers, perhaps he meant physical strength. I said no. Later, of course, I came to understand that the word he had used, siddhis, 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 as it's written out phonetically in English, means psychic powers. So Ram Das's Guru Baba, a highly advanced yogi and guru, is asking his disciple, Ram Das, if his LSD and other pills gives the consumer of them special powers. Now, many of those who followed Neem Karoli Baba or were around him felt, believed, knew that he himself possessed such yogic powers. But as far as anyone knows, they were not derived from any kind of pill or drug, but from sadhana and tapasaya, meaning his yogic practice came from discipline. In fact, one of the attainments he was believed to possess was the ability to know anything that he chose to know at any time, clairvoyance, in which case perhaps he already knew the answer to the question he put to Ram Dass. Apparently, he was a trickster. That's what they're stating here in this article. So whatever may be the case for our purposes, it is enough to know that Neem Karoli Baba connected Ram Dass's drugs to attainments of siddhis, because that is exactly what Sutra 4.1 appears to do. From this, we would not be amiss in thinking that yogis like Neem Karoli Baba are well aware of this passage in the Yoga Sutra. Or even if they are not aware of the specific passage, there is no doubt and understanding among yogis that yogic powers can be attained via herbs. It should also be well noted that Neem Karoli Baba ultimately told Ram Dass that yogi medicine, such as LSD, can give one a glimpse of samadhi, but not the highest samadhi, as he put it. And then I'm going to fast forward a little bit into the article because he jumps to BKS Iyengar and his take. So BKS Iyengar, and he was writing his commentary on the Yoga Sutras in the mid-60s. So Iyengar first spells out in greater detail the 5 ways of becoming an accomplished yogi. By birth, with aspirations of becoming perfect, by spiritual experience gained through herbs or elixirs, by incantations of the names of one desired deity, by ascetic devotional practice, by profound meditation. Iyengar then goes on to note why all 5 of these classes or siddhis are not equal. There is an important distinction between these means of spiritual accomplishment. Followers of the first 3 may fall from grace of yoga through pride or negligence. The others whose spiritual gains are through tapas and samadhi do not. They become masters alone as divine liberated souls, shining examples to the mankind. Sage Mandavya and King Yayati developed supernatural powers through an elixir of life. Today, many drug users employ mescaline, LSD, hashish, heroin, etc. How could you put... All right, BKS, I have a lot of respect for you, but how can you put hashish and cannabis in this thing with heroin and LSD? Come on, man. Okay, anyway, I'm sorry about that. To experience the so-called spiritual visions investigated by Aldous Huxley and other artists and poets in the past have also relied on drugs to bring about supernatural states and enhance their art. Iyengar mention of Huxley is interesting here, particularly as Huxley referred to psychedelics as moksha medicine. And had he lived to read Iyengar's commentary, he no doubt would have been chagrined by Iyengar's so-called spiritual vision put down. So the article keeps going. And I have a lot of respect for BKS Iyengar and what he's brought to yoga and all the amazing things and the lineage. But how do we come to that? I would like a further explanation why in the sutra it doesn't give anything, but he's giving a definition that the first 3 are no good, but the last 3 are good. How? Where does it say that? How? Experimentation? I don't know. This topic needs further research, and I don't know. I'd like to pull it apart and see how much of it is drug war hysteria and how much of it is truthful to the ancient writings. Because right there, even though, like I said, I have great respect for BKS Iyengar and all his studies and everything he brought to us, how does he come to that interpretation? It doesn't give me any real notes or really any research, like where, what, because but Patanjali says it right there. He puts it out there. Okay, Take it for what you will. Investigate. Figure it out. Don't let them tell you what it is, because it looks like no one really knows. That's how vast it is. It keeps changing, but like I said, it's fun. It's fun learning this. It's fun learning new things. So then, as on my next little trip here, this little voyage, I'll take you. I've been thinking about this, and since my I wouldn't call it worship, but I would call it attuning. I guess attuning with the mythology, the vibration, the spirit. I don't know what to call it. Words are just not they don't fit properly. That I found researching, discovering, aligning myself with the writings and the teachings of Shiva and what are in the Vedas and the Puranas, and it's vast. And different interpretations, different translations. It goes from different areas of the country. Stories change to fit different parts of the culture. It's intense. So take from it what you will, because there is a lot of wisdom. There is a lot of wisdom there. A lot of wisdom in the woods. So I started thinking, maybe I don't know. Do I need a pilgrimage? I don't know. So in the back of my mind, since I'm so into Shiva, I thought I'd pay a visit to Shiva's sacred city, Varanasi. But I'm still just lightly doing some research and trying to figure it out, balancing all kinds of stuff. It's a goal, but it's not an immediate goal, and you never know. Things present themselves. So I'm doing a little research, the internet research, and looking at different aspects. Of course, it's a city. There's a lot of people. It's colorful. It's spiritual. It's right on the river Ganges. They do a lot of cremation there. So one of the articles said you might be by the Ganges and see a dead body float by. Okay. Om Namah Shivaya. But then just on a comedic note, as I'm scrolling down this particular article, the travel logger, which they do a pretty good job of laying it out in their own way here, travellogger.com. So you want to check out. I'll put a link, highermindyoga.com, and go through. There's some nice pictures here. There's all kinds of stuff you can see. Oh, this is interesting. I'd like to go a little deeper into the darkness of Shiva, I guess. I don't know. I don't know exactly what's calling me, but I'm enjoying it. And as I scroll down, they have where to stay in Varanasi. Varanasi. Making sure I pronounce that right. Hopefully I am. Varanasi. So as I scroll down, I see none other than American legend, the Elvis Guest House. I found it really amusing. I was like, it was early in the morning, and I was having these thoughts, and I go, let me go and check this out. And as I go through this article, it says, so it's as distant, and it's far, and it's mystical, and the wonderment of a land, it's still close to home. The Elvis Guest House. I got to check this place out. Let's see. I don't know. Maybe this will be the catalyst to send me there. So the Elvis Guest House, the address is in B361 Shivala, Varanasi, India. So and it was ideal in terms of location and budget. I love it. I'm going to go and experience the spiritual aspects of yoga and Lord Shiva, and possibly stay at the Elvis Guest House. I don't know if I'm going to do that, but I just thought it was very interesting and really funny. And listeners of the previous podcast and people who know me as a child, I was a huge fan of Elvis. It was introduced me through TV and all that kind of stuff. And I was a big fan of Elvis. Still holds a spot in my heart. So I wanted to I was making a little joke with my wife. I say, I don't know, look at this aspect of influence from my younger years to now. I'm going to see Shiva and I stay at the Elvis guest house. Maybe there'll be some kind of cosmic union and I'll just explode in a boom of light and smoke. I don't know. I was just having fun with the idea. But yeah, the Elvis guest house in Varanasi. So I'm going to research a little bit more there. If anybody has some insights on going to wondrous India and visiting Varanasi and visiting the temples and being a little closer to Shiva, reach out. You never know. You never know. HigherMindYoga.com. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't yet, take a little time, put it in your calendar, put it on your little reminder on your iPhone or whatever device you have, and give yourself a little time to meditate, to feel the presence. And I just ran across this passage. I think it's Rumi, but I think it said, close your eyes, fall in love, and stay there. Give it a shot. Try 5 minutes. Build a practice. Find that moment. And as I've been studying, just opening myself up is more like it, to different aspects of spirituality, of different religions. A lot of them, if not all of them, can be viewed by the perspective of being present, being in the now, being right here, not being in the past, not being in the future, but being in the present. Over and over again, that's the message. Everywhere from Eckhart Tolle, Bhagavad Gita, to many gurus. So this presence, it feels like a slippery bar of soap. That's been my experience so far. I try to hold on to it, and I can hold on to it for a little while, and it slips away. And then you try to take it into the real world. Just try it. Try this experiment. Just on a random day. When you go out into the world, try not to label anything or judge anything or try to decide one way or another, good or bad. And just witness. Just witness. Just try to keep the thoughts at bay. And if thoughts come, just be aware. Just, As I've said, and countless others, awareness is the key. Don't float away into some nonsense. Little by little, you'll build that meditation muscle, so to speak. So we can take it into our everyday lives and keep that meditation in the background, just keeping it there subconsciously and being able to point out those things or see them coming, see this ball of nonsense is coming my way. Oh, I see it. Okay, it's just that. Let it go. Oh, look at that guy over there. I'm driving in my car and he just honked his horn and he put his finger at me. I'm like, what's going on? Oh, Om Namah Shivaya, and just keep on going. Give it a shot. Have some fun. Do some yoga today. All kinds of yoga, meditation yoga, asana yoga. I'll try that practice. It's all discipline. So you can find your union with the universal mind. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Head on over to highermindyoga.com. Help the podcast out for as little as $1. And enjoy yourself today. Namaste. And a special thank you to the Psychedelic Orchestra from Berlin. From Berlin. I'll place a link. You know where. It'll also be in the info there. Psychedelic Orchestra. Psychedelic-orchestra.de. Check them out. That was the sitar jam.